Hello everyone, and welcome to another Off-Road Update. With a brand new rider taking the win at the opening round of the series, everyone was wondering if that was a sign of things to come, or if the established veterans would assert themselves at round 2 in the sands of Florida. By the time everyone left the Wildboard GNCC, everyone knew what the order would be. As the XC2 class got underway for the second year in a row, it was Bell's Electric FXR Husqvarna mounted Toby Cleveland grabbing the whole shot as the field stormed their way through the opening chicane. Following Cleveland into the woods came Flat Rock Motor Club Gas's Jason Tino, Landers Racing KTM's Grant Davis, Phoenix Racing Honda's Cody Barnes, and KTM teammate Gus Reardon. Just a few miles into lap 1 and Cleveland still held the point position with defending champion Grant Davis in second. Round 1 winner Nick DeFeo came through third aboard his Rocky Mountain Kawasaki, with Reardon coming through ahead of Tino rounding out the top 5. Barnes was next in 6th with runner-up from the opening round Josh Toth in 7th. Brody Johnson was 8th with Jack Walker following behind, while Florida native Jesse Ansley rounded out the top 10. At the 10-mile mark, Davis had taken over the lead, pulling a gap over teammate Reardon, with DeFeo still in third. Barnes and Tino rounded out the top 5 with Toth, Ansley, Brody Johnson, and Walker, with whole shot winner Cleveland dropping all the way back to 10. At the end of the opening lap, and Reardon had closed the gap to his teammate Davis for the number 1 position in class. DeFeo still ran third, with Barnes trying to gain ground from 4th. Tino still ran 6th ahead of Toth, who had Ansley all over his rear wheel, with Johnson and Walker not far behind, Cleveland still rounding out the top 10. Nearly halfway through lap 2, Davis and Reardon were nose to tail as they had caught the back of the XC1 riders who started 1 minute ahead of them. Barnes, looking to back up his podium showing at the first round, had moved up to third on track. Tino came through next with Toth rounding out the top 5 just ahead of Ansley, with Walker a few bike lengths farther behind. DeFeo had dropped all the way to 8th after front brake issues had hampered his momentum. Brody Johnson was 9th, while off-screen his Brian Easler Toyota backed onto teammate and brother Jonathan Johnson rounded out the top 10. At the FMF PowerPoint just past the 11-mile mark, it was still the Landers Racing KTM duo of Davis and Reardon out front, with more XC1 riders ahead of them, with a comfortable gap over Barnes in third. Tino came through in 4th, while Ansley, inspired by the Florida faithful, had moved past Toth to take over 5th. Walker, meanwhile, had also moved past the 2018 XC2 champ to take over 6th, with Toth dropping to 7th. DeFeo dropped to 8th with Brody Johnson and Alexander Goujon rounding out the top 10. Back to the 3, and it was Reardon taking over the lead spot from Davis. The 2 title contenders from last year, based under the same tent, are expected as the ones to fight for the 2025 crown. Barnes was still running in 3rd on his Honda, with Tino coming under pressure from Ansley in 5th. The multi-time FTR champion was looking to tie his best career finish of 4th back in 2022. Toth ran 6th with Walker in 7th and DeFeo in 8th. Two miles into lap 4, and Davis had stretched his advantage over Reardon for the lead position. Barnes was still all alone in 3rd, with Toth moving past Ansley. Tino and DeFeo were next. Unfortunately, Ansley's race would end just before the completion of lap 4, as his rear tire came apart on track. After a wheel swap, he continued, but the bike shut down, leaving him pushing it through the finish just before the drop of the checkered flag. At the beginning of the final lap, and Davis, who still had XC1 riders ahead of him, was controlling a near 25-second advantage over Gus Reardon in 2nd, with Cody Barnes another 40 seconds behind the Australian. Toth, after recovering from bike issues of his own, ran 4th, nearly 3 minutes behind Barnes. Another minute and a half back was DeFeo rounding out the top 5. At the checkered flag, Grant Davis crossed the line to claim his first victory of the season. Teammate Gus Reardon would come across the line to finish 2nd for the day, with Cody Barnes taking the final podium position. Josh Toth would finish 4th, with teammate Nick DeFeo rounding out the top 5 for the afternoon. Jason Tino ended up 6th, with Jonathan Johnson claiming 7th for the day's racing. Jack Walker was 8th, with Alexander Goujon and Hunter Bush rounding out the top 10. Thank you for watching, everyone. Round 3 of the 2025 GNCC season takes place this weekend, March 7th and 8th, in Alabama for the Talladega GNCC. I'll see you guys there.